Garage time again, friends. Wanted to introduce you to somebody that's gonna frequent the channel. The cousin Brandon. We're gonna be going stage 2 on his car, which you haven't met yet. But we're gonna be doing a rack and pinion stage 2, and I think that's about it. Downpipe, intake, all that mess. So let me introduce you to his car. Now, this is his 2010 WRX hatchback. It's the only bad thing about the new cars. Well, we have a few Subarus here. But this is been just stage 1 with the cab access port. And so I almost said full stage 1. I was almost that guy that said full stage 1. Woo! So we're going to be doing a rack and pinion, downpipe, intake. We did do paint correction on the car, so it's a little dirty now, but it looks pretty good. He just got into an accident and actually was able to get a few things done to the front. New bumper, the 15 to 18 style headlights with the, I guess, the more squared off look, which actually, I mean, I don't know, how much did you pay for those? $300 for the set, so a worthy investment. The fitment looks pretty good. The fitment was almost exactly like OEM. I'll put a link in the description for that. Then you got a front grille. Still working on getting that to fit quite right. That was an Amazon special, so. But 106,000 miles. Oh, and we're doing a timing belt today, so that's right. We're going stage 2 rack and pinion and a timing belt, so we'll have some. Yeah, we got our work cut out for us. We'll have some cool uploads and things of that nature, and maybe some install stuff. It's pretty. I mean, the stuff we're doing is relatively simple, but helpful because the timing belt always has to be done on these cars at 105,000 miles, and then the rack and pinion leaks a bunch. So anyway, an update for the cold air intake on the 2009 or 2008 and 2000 to 2010 hatches. Pretty easy. You're basically just going to take it off. There's a metal clamp, take it off your inlet pipe, and there's two mounting bolts, I'm sorry, for your airbox right here and right there. They're both 10 mil. Just undo them, stupid easy, and then they come off. Once you unscrew this, make sure you do detach your MAF sensor. Here's a MAF sensor plug. Oop, helps if it's in the frame. MAF sensor plug. And then while you're in here, probably a good idea just clean things out a little bit. We might do that, depends. We're getting the intercooler off now so we can take the heat shield off the downpipe. You do have to take the intercooler off. Again, that's very simple, very easy. Just make sure, specifically if you're taking the intercooler off, that you do not strip these 2 bolts here that go down into your turbo, because if you do, then you're gonna have to rethread them, and your turbo is it's just a hassle. You don't want to deal with it. So anyway, just a little update. Alright, so an update real quick. We got the downpipe off. As you can see there's just 5 bolts going to the downpipe. Let me just show you on the downpipe itself. 5 bolts on the downpipe. Actually, the bottom 3 are studs. Have a bolt on the back side, and the top 3 are a bolt that goes through with a nut on the back side. So you have 3 studs, and then you have 2 bolts on top. 2 bolts on top. So anyway, we got the O2 sensor out, ready to be put in the new downpipe. We have the steering rack out. Steering rack's really easy. It's not too terribly difficult. The hardest part's probably the tie rod ends right here. Just hammer on the outside area of the tie rod ends to get the steering rack out, or the outside of the control arm here, the hub, whatever they call this part. Anyway, long story short, just hammer on the outside of this, and the tie rod end just kind of falls out. The hardest part, honestly, the steering rack. You take let me show you real quick. There's 10 bolts in the bracket that holds it up. That's stupid easy to get off. The hardest part is actually over here on the rack. This is the old rack, but it's where the feed lines, the input lines for the power steering fluid actually go in. Those are really easy to strip from what I understand. They're hard to get out, so we got those out. Took the tie rods off. We're reusing the tie rods on the new rack. They were in good shape, so there's no problem there. Just make sure when you're taking the tie rods out that you do not damage the rubber boot for the ball joint that's in there, because that would be a bad day, and then you're going to end up with a new tie rod. So we're going to screw those back onto here. What we did is we did mark the old rack so we can mark the new rack with a paint pen before we took it off, so that way we know exactly where we need to screw the tie rods into to make sure that the steering input's correct. Here's the old tie rods here. We're just going to clean them up, reuse them. They do have their 19mm socket here, and they do have a lock nut on the back side. It's extremely helpful if you undo the lock nut. Sometimes you can't get it undone and you just break both of them loose at the same time. If you can undo the lock nut on the back side of it, it's a whole lot easier. Here's the lock nut here. A whole lot easier to get them done when you can undo the lock nut. And then just undoing the rack from the steering input is stupid easy. I don't know if you probably can't see it down in there, but it's just one little bolt, and it just, the bolt is on the back side. When you screw the bolt down, it squeezes the clamp and clamps onto the rack and pinion. And the pinion actually has, I mean, you can see here, the teeth. So this will slide up into a clamp. A bolt will go down through that clamp and then squeeze it on both sides. So that's how you make sure your steering wheel's straight when your input's right. So we'll get it all figured out. We'll do a follow-up video. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Update before we get quite finished. The downpipe is on, looking beautiful. The air intake is on, again looking beautiful. All of this stuff is super simple to install. If you have questions about a wideband O2 sensor, it actually goes in the top bung of the downpipe. You retain your factory O2 sensor as well. This just is kind of an added measure. Timing belt is complete. We did a complete timing belt change. All the belts, drive belts, pulleys are done. So we are close to getting started this stage 2 WRX. We're going to be running an off-the-shelf cop map until till tomorrow. We did a new steering rack on it again, so we're going to be bleeding the power steering fluid out, pouring it in, turning the wheel, doing all that mess, trying to get the power steering fluid bled out. And then we're going to bleed the radiator. We have to start it to bleed the radiator though, so that'll be the first start. So we're going to put the wheels on, put it on the ground, and get going. So, all right, thanks for watching, guys. Making progress, making progress. So we just got finished. We've never done this before, ever. We've never changed a downpipe. We've never changed an intake. We've never changed a timing belt. We've never bled a radiator. We've never changed a steering rack until today. And so it took us about 12 hours of careful deliberation. Anytime something didn't go the way the manual said it was supposed to go, right?
Pretty much.
But what did we learn? We learned a lot. We learned power steering. Our steering racks are a lot easier to take out than they are to put in. We've learned that it's almost nearly impossible to get your steering wheel straight after you take a steering rack out. We've learned that if you smell coolant after a job like this, it's probably because you spilled some. We've learned that when you do the timing belt the way it's supposed to be done, that the intake and exhaust cam on cylinders 2 and 4 side break loose the minute you take the tension off the belt, and it scares the holy out of you. It was terribly gut-wrenching. If that happens, don't panic. Just rotate the bottom cam, I believe that's the exhaust cam, rotate the bottom cam counterclockwise and the top cam clockwise, but do not do it at the same time. Only do it long enough to get the lines to match up. And if you're so inclined to do a timing belt, buy the $30 cam lock tool from Subaru. Apparently it's well worth it. We did not. So we had 4 different guys out here helping us hold cams in place while we lined up all the lines. Downpipe on this WRX specifically was stupid easy. I'm surprised he didn't have an exhaust leak with how easy the downpipe came off. He's just running an off-the-shelf Cobb Stage 2 map. And before you crucify him, he's already got a Pro Tune on the way. It's just not here. He's only using this to get home, and he's not hammering boost. So, taking care of the car and doing what he should do. Next up is an oil change. Bleeding power steering fluid is stupid easy. We may do a video on that later. Bleeding the radiator is stupid easy. We may do a video on that later. If you have all the right tools, jobs like these are really, really easy. So we got everything done. I'm going to have him step into the car and start it, and you guys can hear what a Stage 2 WRX sounds like. It's exciting.
Fire it up!
That sound never, ever, ever gets old. Have a wonderful night, folks. If you need any advice or any tips or suggestions, let us know. We were searching the forums and the Googles and talking to friends and everything. So shout out to all the friends that helped us. My dad, my little brother. Shout out to Stroud Build, Steven Stroud. He gave us some tips on the cam sprockets and how to get the crank pulley off. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Peace out.